we gonna call this the what if story. I remember doing all types of independent production, and one day I get a call. It's like, yo, phone rings, I pick it up. Like, yo, what up? First thing I say, yo, who this? Yo, this is Ra. Ra who? It's Ra the God. Man, I was psyched. Word? So he was like, yeah, man, I'm working on some things, man. I need you to bless me with them joints, man. Baby Paul, yo, man, hit me with the joints, hit me with something crazy. So he hit me. I started working on one of the joints I kept for myself. That was Brainstorm. But that was originally made for Rakim. That wasn't made for me, but I kept it. I'm like, oh, this shit is hot, I always put my best foot forward with the beat. So I'm like, I never felt like if you ain't take something, I was worried about it. It was like, yo, I'm going to keep that. So that was one of them. And then this was the other one. So check this out. He ain't take this. And my man Shorty Long was working on his project, his independent 12-inch. Shorty's doing his own thing. And that's where the beat wound up going. But this was originally done for Rakim. This was done for God. I just wonder why he never called back and got the joints. Like I said, I always kept it dark and grimy. But I could have heard Raw on this right there. Come on, you can't hear Raw on this? But it went to Shorty Long. Shorty's doing his own thing. Check it out. But I'm going to play a few more. And then I got something to do. Y'all got me working when I got other stuff to do. But I'm doing this for y'all. And by the way, I just be trying to school y'all to a lot of things I did, but it's this one character that took all my videos and put it on YouTube so y'all can subscribe to his page. And I don't never get that. If I'm doing something out of my heart to present to y'all, why people always got to take your stuff and make you subscribe to their page to hear something they took from somebody? I don't get that part. Y'all explain that. I don't know. Word. This is part 2 of the what if story. Like I said in a few videos back, I had got a call from Rakim and he was asking me to do tracks. And I got the call, and one of the tracks I did was Shorty's doing his own thing. This was actually the other track I did. Yeah, soundtrack, grimy, high string. Keeping the track and putting it on my Awakening project. This is called Brainstorm. So, found the disc, wanted to pull a disc up. A lot of people was asking me. And yeah, I'm a big fan of soundtracks, whether it was Quincy Jones produced, whether Italian soundtracks from overseas. We were collecting soundtracks heavy. I mean, man, because soundtracks are sinister. You can take a little string from here, a little this from that, and create something so sinister, put your drums to it, and provide the rhythm and the funk and just totally take it somewhere else. So, like I said, I did Shorty's doing his own thing, and this was the second track I had did. And like I said, he called. I was waiting for the call back to say, yo, what you came up with so I could play the tracks, but he never hit me. But salute, because this was Rakim. Word. This is another request. This one is from my brother Just Blaze. He asked for Illegal, and then he asked for this track. This track I'm about to play is a group that I produced out of Rhode Island called Ground Floor. It was an independent 12-inch. And if you ever seen a YouTube clip of me, Jess West, and Big in the studio, and we was talking about this track, and Jess was trying to explain this track to Big. He was trying to do these horns that went. Like I said, I was heavy into jazz. So like, then I think I started digging jazz because Gangstar, Show, and Diamond, we was all digging through jazz in the earlier years. But the only thing about the jazz we would take, we would make it sound funky or soulful. Even though it was jazzy, we would put that bop to it and make it fly, make it real funky. So the earlier tracks, that's why you heard the horns, you heard different things, is because it was all jazz. And I think that's the knowledge of, that makes you go back and dig other jazz albums and buy collections, because you might find that rare piece on this jazz album and you go, yo, what else he got? Then you buy that whole collection. Then you might buy a Quincy Jones soundtrack that was crazy and you go, what else he got? Then you buy the whole Quincy Jones soundtrack or whatever he produced on. And that gets you into the addiction of digging, because when you're able to go through all these albums, they become talking points. If you're in a record store and you digging through an album and you find something another producer used, especially if it's something small, you go, this bastard here, he used this? Because sometimes it don't be loops. It be little sounds that you can hear technically what a person did, and that becomes a talking point when you run into that producer. You start off there, like you kind of slick with the joint you use. I heard you use blah, 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 and it's a laugh, and then y'all talk on from there, and you get into records, so you bump into people in record stores, and like the 90s was a culture because we wanted everything to be so fresh. We ain't want to sound like nobody. It wasn't really permitted like that to sound like anybody. Everybody wanted their own style, and to have your own style, you had to look for the rarest joints or the rarest sounds and the rarest. Now you got YouTube and you can buy stuff off of YouTube. I'm not mad at you. You don't buy it. People sample it, or you buy stuff off of iTunes. They call it e-digging on YouTube. But you can find some stuff on YouTube, but that means you're only as good as what the next person upload. You got to be able to go out there and find your own stuff and shock the world with something you found that nobody's up on. That's kind of what digging is about. And that's why when you listen to Midnight Marauders, and when you listen to Daily Operations, and when you listening to Black Moon album, you know, everybody was digging. Breaking Atoms, Main Source. I can name so many albums. Runaway Slave, Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. These was heavy sampled albums. And some people go, well, I don't sample. Sampling, if you could take something minute and create something with it, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, if you need big overall loops and grooves, then yeah, you're going to have to clear that. So the people that are up on chopping and digging and filtering and doing these things that make incredible stuff doesn't worry about really sampling, because we're taking bits and pieces. So I just wanted to school you on a few things, you know? Here we go. I've been getting a lot of requests for this next one here. It's off the Awakening album, and people always want to know, is it a sample, is it a loop? How was this track actually composed? Well, this track is actually composed by all jazz, chords and filters and scaling. See, this is all jazz right here. One piece scale 4 times. Halfway filtered right here. let's take it from the top. So the majority of my Awakening album is already sequenced. When I was putting this project together, I was sequencing the song mainly around my composition I was writing. Whether it was the drum rolls, whether it's the turnarounds, everything made sense. So when I pop these discs in and I'm hitting play, you hearing the records as constructed for the most part, 95% of the time. So when it comes to this track right here, this is people's favorite. It has a feel, it has a mood, and I kind of understand it because I felt the same way when I did it. So, like I said, this one is called True and Living. If you're not familiar with the Awakening album, check it out. Of course, it's EQ'd better because went in the studio and EQ'd it. But this is for those that requested this track. Word. Let's go back to the beginning when it all started for me. When I first got a 1200 and got me a Kai S950, Jess West, legendary producer, OG, he came down and showed me how to use the 950. I already knew how to use the 12. So he came back like maybe a week or two later. Let me hear what you worked on. So I'm playing on these joints and he's like, yo, man, shit is crazy. You did this shit? I'm like, yeah. So that led to the introduction of me working with Puff. That led me working with Big. But one of the songs that he chose, one of my first beats, was on Who's the Man soundtrack, which was Ease Up. And then I wound up getting a chance to remix Easy Mo B's Party and Bullshit for Big, which led me to keep on working with Big. And one of the tracks that I did before Suicidal Thoughts was this track. The name of the track was called Come On. So I played this for Big. He liked where I was going with it. So he was like, yo, man, I need that right there. So I kind of made it up while I was in the studio, while we was working. And then we took it over to Hit Factory and started adding. He said, Joe, I need a bass line or something. And that's when I came with the... So he originally did Come On to this track, and then Puff wound up scrapping this. This was supposed to be on the Ready to Die album, but he scrapped it, but they held the song. It eventually came out on Born Again, but at that point, the legendary Clark Kent added his touch to it. He remixed the track. So this is the raw original track to it. And Big and Sadat, man, they killed this. I remember them going back and forth in the studio. This was silly, man. But salute, man, because this was like, man, I thought I was on my way when I did this and I heard what he was doing to it. But salute to one of the greatest of all time, Notorious B.I.G. And that's the story behind this song, Come On, before Suicidal Thoughts. Still in here going through classics, taking myself down memory lane. So, a lot of these, I'm pulling up my own masters. When, producers don't know, you own your own masters. If you got the disc that made the original, you really got the master, and they got a master of your master. So, I'm still able to go back in the 90s and pull up a lot of these joints and just vibe out. Because a lot of these 90s joints, I still just got all of this too. So this joint right here, I produced for an artist called Experado off of my boy's label, man, good friend of mine, and for Official Joints. And then it was redone by Joey Badass, and he called it Funky Hole. So, yeah, this is the original joint right here, coming right off the disc. Only thing is, a lot of stuff that I do on the 12 sounds just like the record. Put a little EQ on it, and it's the way it is, Word. And I song mode everything, so all I do is pull it out, song mode it, and then let it ride, and then go in, whether I put it on on Pro Tools or Ableton, I just sequence it the same way. And there you have it. You got the master. So, man, all producers, keep your disc, keep whatever art form that you put your music through to create them classics, because they probably more valuable than the actual masters. Only thing, you just don't got the vocals. I remember getting a call from Peanut Butter Wolf to knock out this remix. The name of the song was called Run the Line, and this was like the joint that I put together. So in the 90s, I just loved like this melodic jazz vibe that's like kind of retro type sound now. People try to go back and do it. But man, in order to do it, you have to understand like the art of digging means everything. From the drums to the way you program it. You know, between a 12 and a 950, it always made me like a composer, because I would take all these sounds and put it together and program drums behind it. So I want to thank Peanut Butter Wolf for this joint, you know, that he allowed me to remix the song, Run the Line, because some of these joints you do on the spare of the moment, because they call you to do a remix and you try to find something that matches and complements the song. And this one, it took a while, you can ask them. It took me a couple of weeks because I wanted it to be right. But at the end of the day, it was funky. It was a jazzy joint. Some people know it. Like I said, it's called Run the Line. Look it up. But salute to Peanut Butter Wolf on that one. I'm going to put you up on something. A lot of people request this one. A lot of people favorites. But I'm going to start from how I got the idea, which is the... So this is Shorty's Caught Up in the System. It was a song that I did for Motown, State of Emergency soundtrack. They wanted a song from me that spoke about the direction of the youth. And I came up with this song, did the beat, wrote it, completed by me. But I wanted to play you how you can have some, but we always listen for the bass line in these loops. We wasn't really trying to do whole loops like that. We was always trying to be secretive and very just strategic with how we put tracks together. I just happened to let one out the bag for you. See if you can find it. I don't even remember where I got it from, but I just want the bass line. I ain't even want the tip top. I want to talk to you about the story behind Jewelz. That's OC's title track to a second album. And when I was working on this piece of work here, this was supposed to be an interlude for the Awakening, until OC heard it and he said, man, you straight tripping. I need that for my album. So it's a melodic piece. I got it panned. If anybody know anything about panning, is on some of the classic records back in the days, records that were in stereo. Sometimes you could have the bass and the drums on one side, you could have the music on another side, and what we would do was take a turntable and put it on different channels, or we would pan it to see what instruments that we could take and put back together. So when we put the track together, we can dip stuff out and it sound like different sequences, but all it is the samples pan. So this right here is called Jewelz, the title track off of OC's second album. Once again, some of y'all going, I didn't know he did that. In the 90s, I was doing a lot of stuff that probably people just failed. And the sad part is y'all got credits. Now with streaming and everything, you don't even get to read credits no more. Bring the guitar in on y'all. So like I said, we were panning, we was doing different things, but back in our era, you know, when you brought albums, people would read the credits to see who produced what, who wrote what was the studio you used, who was the engineer, who mastered it. And I think that's a lost thing with streaming, because streaming eliminates that because they don't put people credit there. So it's hard for you to find out who did what nowadays. And that's one of the things that's faulty with streaming, because when people were able to read the credits and read who produced what, people got work because of that. But when you go into streaming and you don't know who did what, or if you don't have, you know, somebody screaming your name, you know, at the beginning to show you did the beat, how can you be found? Especially with engineers, well, studios, people work in their own little private area. But for engineers and, you know, different people that was getting paid due to the credits, y'all reading the credits is kind of X'd out in this era. So, like I said, that was Jewelz. Now we're going to go to the start. The start for me is when I first got a 1200 and a 950. I was good at just taking sounds. We listened to a lot of jazz and we would put a lot of stuff together. And it sounds like it's all one, but there's so much stuff going on. Don't ask me. I don't realize what I was thinking about, but I know it was creepy and L liked it. And, you know, I played that. He was bugging. Yeah, the title track of the song off the album, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. So when I did this, I used to love like dark sounds and real melodic and just real dark and spooky like. And he was like, yo man, I need that for my album. And he named it after his album, Lifestyle of the Poor and Dangerous. But the stuff he was saying on it, it matched the vibe of the track. I had all types of stuff coming in here, left and right. And once again, it's a sequence type of track that I got going here. But L, y'all already know L is the truth. When L started thinking about the horrorcore type rap, and he started doing what he was doing, I just sit back and as a producer, I would come in and be entertained because I already know he's gonna say something retarded. Like, I can't wait to hear the rhyme. I went to the studio gas, like, you know, he'd be in there trying to get his rhymes right. You just kind of want to push ahead because you want to hear, well, what's the next verse? What you saying in this? What you saying in that? So, yeah, that's the story behind Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. This is part 2 of the What If story. Like I said in a few videos back, I had got a call from Rakim and he was asking me to do tracks. And I got the call And one of the tracks I did was Shorty's doing his own thing. This was actually the other track I did. Yeah, soundtrack, grimy, high string. But I wound up eventually keeping the track and putting it on my Awakening project. This is called Brainstorm. So, found the disc, wanted to pull a disc up. A lot of people was asking me. And yeah, I'm a big fan of soundtracks, whether it was Quincy Jones produced, whether Italian soundtracks from overseas. We would collect the soundtracks heavy. I mean, man, because soundtracks are sinister. And you can take a little string from here, a little this from that, and create something so sinister, put your drums to it, and provide the rhythm and the funk and just totally take it somewhere else. So, like I said, I did Shorty's doing his own thing, and this was the second track I did. And like I said, he called. I was waiting for the call back to say, yo, what you came up with so I could play the tracks, but he never hit me. But salute, because this was from Rakim. Word. So this joint right here, speaking of classics, my brother made this the ultimate classic, but this beat was originally done for Pitch Black. I remember working with one of my boys in D'Agostino's, and he sought me out. I said, I heard you do beats, man. Yo, it's this group out of Brooklyn, Pitch Black, man. You got to do a joint for one of them. So the joint I did was called Show and Prove, but when L got to it, it became an L joint because it went like... crazy. So when he did the freestyle on Stretching Bobito, he got so filthy on this, man. But this is originally done for Pitch Black. It's called Show and Prove. Salute to Pitch Black. I ain't see y'all in a while. I hope everybody's doing good, man. But we just playing classics, you know. We going through a lot of the stuff I did in the 90s that was underground things that was going on. But a lot of people go, you did that? Yeah, I did that. That was... Sometimes you find that just that one simple thing, you put the drums to it. Sometimes beats don't need a whole ton of stuff on top of it. I learned that from Big, man. Big, he would just take a loop. I remember Easy LP did Get Money, and Easy LP had a bunch of stuff on it. He's like, yo, take all that stuff off, and he just straight killed the loop. So a lot of times loops and drums, they don't need a ton of stuff on it. It's just the feel. And most likely it's what the artist is going to do to it. I think people think the beat is supposed to do more than what the artist is supposed to do. Oh, the beat got to be fire. But if you trash and the beat fire, only thing that people are going to do is take your beat and freestyle over it, you know? And, you know, so when you get a beat, you know, try to think of a concept or something that's going to be crazy on top of it. Word. This joint right here is one of the last joints we did off Lifestyles That Are Poor and Dangerous. And I remember, like, we had turned some songs in, and Sony was tripping, and they were, oh, we don't like this, we don't like that. And I remember the last two songs we did was MVP and this song. And it was just a bunch of noises. This stuff I pitched up and down. This is the main Cobra right here. We master tuned this and just went up and down with it, and we got this. And like I said, most of the songs that I did in the 90s are all kind of sequenced. So if you match the sequence up to his actual song, it's the same thing. Street Struck was the name of the song for those that ain't familiar, but I know everybody's familiar with this joint. I know I was heavy into scaling and then putting a whole vibe around what I scaled, put the drums to it, put all these little noises and stuff, and always gave it a vibe. Word. This right here is a request by my brother, Just Blaze. When I was posting up the other tracks, he was like, yo, man, pull up that joint, man. Pull up the joint you did for Illegal. So yeah, I got the chance to work with Illegal back in the 90s. Probably my earliest production. And I remember being in the studio. It was me, AG. AG used to hang out with them all the time. And I remember we all in the studio. That's why I wound up ending up kicking a verse. Redman was in that session too. Man, it was dope, man. But we always took bass lines and built stuff around the bass line. And then, you know, we would do sequences, wild sequence, make stuff that don't even make the record, like. Back in the days, was playing with horns. I think between Pete Rock and Just West, I tried my hand at playing with horns on the head because it would make the horns do something. And before the bass line come in there, it just gives it a vibe. 1 to the 2 to the 3, 1 to the 2 to the 3. Yeah, that was Illegal, man. They killed this. They rocked out. And I was song mode everything, so you just listening to the song mode. So we would song mode and sequence. I would get the bars and I would listen to how long the rhyme was and how long this person rhyme was, and we would sequence the song around the artist's rhymes. So it wasn't like, you know, even if we gave you a beat tape or a beat cassette, when it was time for you to come in the studio, we would mold the beat to your style, to your flow, to what you want to do, you know. So that was the song, that was the story behind the infamous song Illegal on the MIC. And thank Just Blaze for that one. He was like, yo, pull up that Illegal joint. So there you have it. Yeah, like I was saying in the last video, you don't have to take loops. You could take stuff that's right in front of people's face. I will play a note, and I know diggers are gonna know what this is. Play it again. Diggers know what it is. Y'all probably like, yo, what is that? But you take a note, like I said, and do something fly with it. But of course I did that. Like I said, we were just taking little notes and making compositions that was totally funky. little bass notes and play our little bass line under it. It was the sub, like a sub deep little bass. I'll get to it when I stop this. That little bass note right there. We was just known for taking something like this and just scaling it. Taking little bass notes and playing them in the back of your track, thinking you're a bassist all of a sudden. But yeah, that was the creative way that we did things back in our era. Let me give you one for the road. This is the classic of the classics. I mean, when I did this, I knew it felt so good. I was like, man, I'm keeping this for me. It was just the two notes. The two notes just did this. That was the two notes. And I was like, damn, two notes? What if I took the two notes and then just did this? Then go down. Yeah, I was like, damn. Then I added some drums. Then it took it to a whole nother level. Had little horn hits and we went there. So like I said, most of the joints that come out the 12 and a 950 sound damn near like the record. I'm not going through no board. I'm basically going through a patch bay, through my mixer, through the speakers. So yeah. Damn, man. Analog sound versus digital is different. See how warm that kick still sounds? The way the snare cuts through, even the samples got a full feel. So that's the classic of them all. Hip to the Game was done for the Awakening album, my first single off the Awakening album, and probably the most popular out of my whole collection. You know, so always a vibe. I'm gonna catch y'all, I'm out. We're venturing off into the unreleased section right now, where I'm finding joints. This was saying Hip to the Game remix, and I remember working on this, but you know, I don't remember it being Hip to the Game remix, but as I'm listening to different sounds, I could hear it. And if I'm gonna hit this sound, and y'all gonna know, once again, the diggers are gonna know, other people gonna go, I think I know. So once again, always like flipping keys and chords. Once again, my favorite drums, I like it bouncing. But with these set of drums that we were using, every time you EQ'd it a different way, you got a different feel. This is where it feels bigger, because the snare is fat the way it's EQ'd. So this was the Hip to the Game remix. Thinking of a hook in my mind, like, okay, I could hear it. I probably would have did something fly and funky with the hook. So, like I said, this is supposed to be the Hip to the Game remix that never seen the light of day, but man, still here working on the SP-1200 Part 2 project, and I'm just pulling up joints that you might know, joints you might not know, but this is like one of them uncut rare gems right here. Let me tell you the story behind this one. So, I had a group called Trends of Culture come to me like, yo man, we was working on this song called Off and On. They had the original version, but once I did this version, they scrapped the original version. So when you seen the video, you was hearing this version, but for some reason they ain't put remix on the title. But this is one of the rare joints that I did that was knocking in the 90s that people really don't know like that. They know, but damn, I ain't know Ness did that. But yeah, man, when they came to sat with me, they had the routine, they was saying it in front of me, and I was putting the beat together while it was here in front of me. So salute to Trends of Culture. This is one of the uncut archive joints. I'm gonna pull up at least 1, 2, or 3 more and just let y'all know the science behind them. I remember, had to be like 98, 99. Me and AG was in Japan, and I remember DJ Muro, King of Digging out there, he wanted me to do a joint. And you know me, I can do joints on the spot, so I remember just saying, well, let's go record shopping. And we went record shopping, and I found this joint. And I just started putting it together. Everything that's in here is something I brought and put it all together. And we had it rocking. Of course, they put the delay on it, but so we went in the studio. I remember doing my verse, and it was dope. It was dope. It came out dope, but they couldn't get sample clearance, so this beat never seen the light of day, really. But it was definitely a dope beat. And I just remember being impressed how everything made sense when I put it together in the studio. So yeah, this one right here, dope. People in Japan know about this joint right here. Maybe not the US, but a crazy beat nonetheless. And to do it at the last minute in the studio in Japan and come up with this. And I remember us being in the studio till the wee hours of the morning. A spit a verse, I spit a verse, and came out. It was dope. So, I ain't actually produced this track. This track was produced by Mark Lowe and Jess West. Was actually the last track on our Awakening album. They just recently gave me the disc. Mike Lowe gave me the disc recently to vibe to, and I was like, man, y'all really killed this track. But it was the last track on the album, and I remember calling up Pooba and Sadat X and Large, saying I had this track, and the track, I remember the track was so ill that we shot a video for, but listening to everything they got in here, I was like, man, y'all overdid it with this one. Killed this, man. But it was the last track on our Awakening, and we wound up shooting a video to it. It's on YouTube, you can check it out. But salute to Mike Lowe and Jess West on this joint. They murdered this. All them little noises, like they did some intergalactic, like space stuff on this, man. Until next time, I'm gonna catch y'all later.